my name's Elisa and welcome back to my channel, All You Can Eat with Elisa. Today I am going to be showing you how to make a pandan and coconut agar. And what the heck is agar? It is like equivalent to a Jello, a gelatin, but it's not gelatin. It's made out of algae actually, so it's plant-based, vegan. It's commonly used in Southeast Asia to set desserts. So the properties are slightly a little bit different than gelatin. I would say texture-wise, it's a little bit more firm and crisp and not as like bouncy as you would get from just typical gelatin Jello, but really, really good and refreshing and easy to make. So let's get started. First, we're gonna have to have some pandan leaves, obviously, coconut milk, sugar, water, agar powder. The one I have here, it is called the Telephone brand. It is the Thai version. I usually get this at the Asian grocery store. You could probably find agar also maybe in the health aisle of just regular grocery stores. Otherwise, Amazon also sells this too, but just make sure that you're just getting pure agar. Sometimes you might see it mixed with like other flavors and stuff, so this is just agar powder by itself. No, nothing else mixed in. All right, so we want to make our pandan juice. So for those of you who don't know, pandan, it's very fragrant. It is common just like in desserts, Southeast Asian desserts, like vanilla would be in many American desserts. So anytime you see like green hued desserts that are Asian, most likely it is pandan flavor. So I am just going to chop up the leaves. I'm going to blend this with water to make my juice. And this is actually really fibrous. So it's like we're not going to be eating any parts of the leaves. The leaves are just used for flavor. I've got 1.5 cups of water and I'm actually making a half recipe. In my little mini blender here, I have some water and some I have pandan leaves and water, and I am going to blend this up. We are going to blend up the pandan leaves and water. So now we're gonna strain all of those fibrous leaves out of the water and we're just gonna get that flavor. So you could already kind of see the fibrous leaves. So all of that'll get strained out right now, and what's left will just be this really fragrant pandan water. So you could see here, look how beautiful and green that is. I'm just going to squeeze out any remaining liquid from the pandan leaves. There we go. And so this is what's left of all of the leaves. So we're going to toss this. Now we are going to put this in molds. I have here silicone ice cube trays. I like using the molds because number one, you can get even cubes of your Jello, and they're just really nice to present if you are making this for a party or bringing it to someone's house. They just look nice when they're all perfectly in cubes. But that being said, you can also just use a flat bottom dish and then cut out the squares yourself. So totally up to you. This recipe is going to yield obviously half, but if the full recipe, you'll be able to do 3 silicone ice cube trays, which about 45 pieces total. Because we're doing a half batch, we'll probably get around 22, 23. Right now, I am just going to put our pandan juice in a small saucepan. And to this, I'm gonna add my agar powder. Full recipe will be 2.5 teaspoons of agar powder to liquid. In this case, we're just gonna do 1 1/4 since we're doing a half batch. And with agar powder, this is the difference between gelatin and agar powder. You need to put the powder in to mixture that is not boiling or hot yet, because if you boiled the mixture first prior to putting the agar powder, the agar will actually just start clumping right away, and then you'll have to start over because you won't be able to, I guess, dissolve the clump. All right, so let's add our powder to the mixture. I have some sugar. I have a 1/4 cup here because remember I'm making a half batch, but normally it would be a full, a half a cup. And again, we'll put the actual true full recipe up for you so you have the full measurements. But let's get over to the stove. We're gonna dissolve this mixture and heat it up until the agar has completely dissolved. It'll come to a soft, like a slow boil basically. So just put this on like a medium heat, and now I'm going to dissolve the sugar and the agar powder. I'm actually going to put in a very pinch of salt, because with any desserts I just like to add a little bit of salt for balance. And yeah, we will continue to mix this up. Try to keep mixing it because you don't want the agar to just set at the bottom. So I usually do a few mixes along the way until everything is dissolved. Okay, so our pandan liquid has all dissolved. I'm going to put it back into the measuring cup so it's easier to pour into the trays. And I'm just going to fill these halfway because the top layer is going to be the coconut. Our pandan layer is kind of good to go. I'm just gonna move this. If you see little bubbles inside really quick, I like to just, it's not really necessary, but it's me just, this will actually set at room temperature. So while this is setting, I'm going to be making the coconut layer. You don't want to have a lot of time in between the pandan, in between layers, because if you wait too long and it cools completely, it won't stick together. The layers won't stick. This will just take, you know, it'll start setting right now actually, and then you'll see a little film over it. But again, we kind of want to work now on the coconut so then we don't have this cool off too fast. Okay, so now onto the coconut layer. I have a can of coconut milk. You are going to want to use the canned version of coconut milk, not the drinkable coconut milk that you would find in the cartons. This will give it extra coconut flavor and some creaminess that you won't find if you're just using regular drinkable coconut milk. Okay, so first I want to add a half a cup of water to the pan, or to the pot. And then we are also going to do a cup of coconut milk. Again, normally if we're doing the full recipe, I would be using a full can plus a cup of water, but we're doing half. So we're just going to do a cup instead. And then to this, I'm going to add my agar powder, same measurements as before. And then my sugar. All right, that's it. Off to the stove we go to dissolve this mixture, and then we'll layer it on top. Got it on medium-high heat. And we're just gonna mix this so everything is dissolved. And again, remember the agar and everything gets dissolved preheating of the mixture. To this also, a little pinch of salt again, just like before. A little soft boil. turn this mixture off. It's all good to go. And then we'll layer this on to the pandan. Same goes here. Ooh, that one went through. So you saw that. If you do it too quickly, then sometimes you'll have the bleed where the coconut goes down into the pandan, but not to worry. That one might not look pretty, but it'll still taste the same. But yeah, it's all about the timing. So you want the top to be a little bit tacky, and you can kind of see, you know, you can kind of see that you get that film on top, but sometimes you might not. So I do recommend you pouring the coconut a little bit slower. If you pour just a tiny bit, I like to do it really slow so then you don't break. The top layer is a little bit trickier because again, you want it to be, you want it to still be not completely set because otherwise it won't stick together. And really, if it doesn't stick together, it's not the end of the world too. You have 2 separate layers that you could eat, so. Okay, all done. I like to set this actually, even though it does set in room temperature, I like to actually chill it completely because it's really refreshing when it's cold. So that's what we'll do. And then once everything is set, we'll go ahead and take these out of the mold so you can see what it looks like. All right, so we have our pandan and coconut agar jello out of their molds. You can see how pretty and perfect they are when you use these molds. And just imagine if you were serving this to a bunch of people, you can have them all like stacked up and lined up together, and it would look so nice presentation wise. So yeah, pretty easy to make. Of course, even though I've had these a million times, I cannot pass up the option of eating it again. Light and refreshing, a great combination. Check it out. Let me know what you think. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And thanks again for watching. Bye.